You have probably heard that the best way you can get a job at an organization is by getting a referral. And the problem is, of course, how do you do that? Hi, everyone. It's Emily, the Career Catalyst. And today I really want to talk about that. So the way you ask for a referral isn't going to be something kind of instant and necessarily terribly easy, but it absolutely is possible. So, oh, I see you're giving me this. Oh, yeah. Getting a referral is okay. Going live now for real. Getting a referral is a really key way to get into an organization you want to get into, but how the heck do you ask for a referral? Hi everyone, it's Emily, the Career Catalyst, and this is a really big challenge that a lot of us face. We know kind of in theory that referrals are very powerful, but we don't necessarily know how to get them. So I want to speak a little bit to that today. And the problem is that this is not an instant process. You can't just toggle a button and suddenly people are going to begin referring you for positions. Instead, what you're going to do is begin to nurture relationships. So start by identifying some people who are really key players in the organizations that you want to get into. And then what you're going to do is do some basic outreach. This can feel pretty weird initially. Don't worry, it's all manageable. What you're going to do is reach out to someone who has a really interesting kind of job or some particular angle on what they do that seems interesting to you. This is going to look a lot like asking for a basic informational interview. Hi, so-and-so, you don't know me, but I see that you do X, Y, and Z. I'm also very interested in X, Y, and Z. I wonder if I can talk to you about your experience, right? And then what you're going to do with that conversation is be very, very targeted. So you're just going to want to make sure that you're really asking the questions around that specific angle or anything that seems to be very unique or interesting about how that person works or about how that company operates. You'll need to nurture this relationship over time. So this initial call is not entirely sufficient, although you can absolutely use it as a time to ask for things like advice. Hey, I'm new in this profession. What advice would you have for me in order to get started? Those kinds of questions. And then you're going to want to make sure that you do also follow up with some kind of small token of thanks for their time. Now, the caution here is that you cannot do that legally for a person who works in most federal government offices and also some state offices, depending. So be very careful about that. What you can do, of course, is if there is someone in one of those agencies who's been very, very instrumental in your search, and then you wind up getting hired with that agency, then you can take the person out for something like dinner or lunch or whatever, because then it's just a colleague to colleague kind of interaction. And just a way that you, as a professional, get to thank that person who is important in your life. But for the rest of us, make sure that you are following up with some small token of your thanks. That could be a small gift card. That could be a thank you letter with something enclosed in it. If you are a quilter, you could give a sample quilt. If you make jam, it could be that. Or you could certainly do a $5 or $10 gift card. These days, I'm really encouraging people to make those gift cards for local independent coffee shops. And you can just find those by Googling independent coffee shop gift card Tulsa. So just put in kind of that person's location so that you're sure that there is something that they can actually use. But that's a really nice gesture and also keeps the conversation going. And then you're going to want to make sure that you keep fostering that relationship. It's the nurturing that's going to make all of the difference. And so you don't have to do this super, super often, but do make sure that you are periodically going in and recontacting that person, asking how something in their life went, asking how they have been dealing with being in quarantine, all of those kinds of things. So this relationship building is a really key part of it. And then at some point, you're going to begin to feel comfortable enough with these folks that you can then make your request for a referral. Now, broadly speaking, there are kind of two ways that you can go about this. The first one is for you to just kind of pitch a job. So this means you're going to need to have had some conversations about the needs of the organization and the kinds of problems that this particular person sees as being kind of key within the organization itself. This is harder, and not everyone is going to feel comfortable with it. So don't force yourself to do it if it doesn't feel authentic. What you're going to do in that case, though, is you're going to sort of talk to this person and then submit a proposal that identifies the problem that the company appears to be facing and your solution to it, and really how you're going to be of benefit to them. And then you can send it to your connection and just say, how does this sound? And then say, I'm going to submit it. Will you put in a good word for me? Again, not comfortable for all of us. So if that's the case for you, don't stress yourself out. Approach number 2 may be more comfortable for you. That is kind of waiting to see a job posting that fits you, that sounds really good and fits within your skill sets, and then applying for that position, and then reaching out to your contact and saying something like, hey, I've just applied for this job. Would you feel comfortable giving me a referral for it? That language is a little bit softer, so it often feels more comfortable for us. And it also gives the person an out in case there is some overriding reason that that person doesn't feel right doing it. It might even be a company policy around something like that. Or it just could be that they don't necessarily feel like they know you well enough, or whatever. Now, if they don't feel like they know you well enough and opt out of giving you the referral, just kind of take that as food for thought for the next interactions you have with other people you want to network with, because it means that there are some ways that you might want to deepen that relationship instead of just the periodic email contacts. So bear that in mind, and don't think of anything that you do as necessarily a misstep or a failure. This is a process of learning, and this request for referrals can feel really awkward to a lot of us. And so just kind of be open to the fact that you are learning and developing this new set of skills. Don't be mean to yourself. You can do this, but it might feel a little uncomfortable, and it might never feel entirely comfortable, even if you do it pretty often. So I hope that's helpful to you. Definitely let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and I will see you here again soon.